Well, we'll kick off the first question. Really, what I pose to the panelists. Tell me about the innovations over the last 18, 24 months that have impacted your business, your industry, your clients, in your case, Elaine, that really have changed the way that you guys are having to run your business. And I'd like to have Mike kick it off. He's got some slides that I think are pretty interesting and telling around some of these innovations that have really been driven out there. So hop on?
Sure. So this is a very interesting time for what I'll call the telecommunications enabled internet space. And the reason it's interesting is because we kind of have a confluence of groundswell technologies coming together. We have mobility. Each and every one of us understands the benefits and consequences of using a cellular telephone, and I think that if you look at how consumer technologies have evolved from cordless phones, garage door openers, microwave ovens, cell phones have made it to that level of mass adoption that everyone sees value in. So mobility combined with internet, combined with broadband, enabled by social applications and functions, are truly creating a sea change in how people communicate with each other. This change is moving in a curvilinear way. Just as we were talking about just a few minutes ago, a couple of years ago, the idea of having a phone with an 800 megahertz processor in it that's primarily a communications device but truly has computing functionality was kind of a foreign idea, or maybe something that you might have heard about in some esoteric or far-off marketplace in low volumes, but not something that was an idea that is scaled to reach mass market adoption. So we're at this very unique and special time, and when it comes to innovation, it truly means that I think the definition of what innovation means is going to change. And everyone has a slightly different point of view for innovation, but for NSN, innovation means finding those equation-changing opportunities that take our customers and place them ahead of their marketplace, ahead of their competition, and then giving them the tools and resources to deliver and execute solutions that meet the resulting needs. A slide here kind of gives you a little bit of context for what we're talking about in terms of scope. Today in the United States, we're at about 90% penetration in terms of mobile devices. About 195 million people are using the internet on a daily basis. 300 million Facebook subscribers. I think that number was met yesterday, and Facebook is now revenue or cash flow positive.
Yeah, with 300 million customers.
Not 300 million revenue generating customers, but 300 million customers. And a 10x annual increase in business models where people are bringing together or mashing up these applications, services, and functions. It's truly a revolutionary time, a time unlike any I think we could recall in our professional careers. And what we're finding is that this confluence of functions, this contextual mobile internet, this broadband enriched experience is going to change the way we communicate, it's going to change the way we work, it's going to change the way we think about productivity, it's going to change the way we evaluate how we innovate in the marketplace. So I talked about, and I mentioned the contextual experience. Our sense for what is coming is something that we refer to as the contextual internet. Having any one of these functionalities available to us makes our lives better, more valuable, richer. But adding them together, well, really you're multiplying mobile times internet, times broadband, times social functionality to create a completely new range of potential applications and functions and life experiences. And in the end, when we think about innovation, it's got to refer back to that value that you capture by creating a more rich experience. We've identified here the 9 primary categories where Nokia Siemens Networks is working with our carrier customers to try to identify opportunities for capturing value, for delivering the innovation, for realizing benefits for the end users. And each and every one of these are critical if you think about what happens on a day-to-day basis with the capture, management, use, and harvesting of of data that moves across the networks. You know, at any given time, any one of the carriers that operate in our network could be managing millions of megabytes of data. And social networks are generating a tremendous amount of traffic across both wired, wireless, and fiber networks. Not all of it is accretive to the operator. So there's some real issues when carriers have to plan, you know, for hundreds of millions of dollars of investment. You know, today alone, $60 million is going to be invested in wired, wireless, and fiber architecture in the United States today. $60 million. That $60 million is being spent every single day of the week, every week of the year. It's huge capital involved in running these location-aware, customer-relative wired, wireless, and fiber optic networks. And as you can see, not only are there legacy issues, today issues, but there's also future issues relating to what is the experience going to look like? What is the grade of service that has to be delivered? How do we innovate in the eyes of the customer? Real issues, real issues. These over-the-top programs, these functional applications, these grades of service that consumers have expectations for, and that new market entrants like Google, Yahoo, and Microsoft are enabling, they have to be, for a carrier, they have to be founded in the ability to actually deliver a localized service. So when you pick up your mobile phone and you interact with the network, you know, you're requesting a grade of service from that network, and a tremendous amount of very sophisticated architectural commitments that have been developed in the, leading up to your call have to be supported. So, you know, we call it automating and delivering the contextual internet, and then the extreme connectivity, which is the result. There's really two elements. There's the architectural element, you know, how we actually take this radio base station and make it a functional part of the network. And then there's all the functionality that has to be blended into the consumer experience, the activation of the account, the enabling of the application, the creating the context for how that application has value for the consumer. There's a lot of complex components behind making the localized network a multi-faceted network for the consumer. Grade of service functionality, as well as over-the-top platform support. And in the end, it's about creating an opportunity where carriers can deliver extreme experience and the highest level, the highest grade of service possible. There's a lot of folks in the marketplace that are kind of active in this space. You know, efficient networks, low-cost networks, value-based networks. You'll hear a lot about Asian market entrants coming to the United States to offer grades of service to customers. That's a real risk if you're a carrier or an operator that seeks to deliver the next level of experience, a truly contextual experience. Our goal is to find a way to get customers understanding the advantages of the service-based experience, the highest level of experience, the extreme experience. And as we build our networks and as we work with our carrier customers, you know, our plans orient around migrating to that location and finding innovative ways to do it. Mobility, internet, broadband, social services, all of these functionalities are coming together in internet time. So the curvilinear rate at which technologies are being combined is really causing a lot of agita in the marketplace as carriers try to figure out the services that you want to buy. With change occurring at record paces, it's a really challenging marketplace. It's a tremendous marketplace. There's phenomenal growth. Even in a down economy, we've seen 20% year-over-year growth in mobile data usage. And mobile data usage is going to end up being probably 30% of all traffic, billable traffic for the carriers in the next 3 to 5 years. You already are seeing mobility replacing local phone service at a rate of an additional 5% per year. 2 years ago, it was 1 in 16 people used their cell phones in exchange of a local phone. Now it's 1 in 5. In the time that we will give this presentation today, 375 million searches will be conducted on Google, and about 10% of those are going to be over the mobile device. But in 5 years, that number is not going to be 10%, it's going to be 50%. And mobile and search in general is growing by 75% per year. So there are so many factors that are driving this need for understanding of the contextual internet and the extreme experience. The carriers truly are looking for partners that they can work with, that can help them understand marketplace dynamics, future risks, and opportunities to innovate. And that's what we're trying to accomplish.